Hello, and welcome to the first session of Nalawale Kai Kohola. Um, this session is going to be me and my friend Dale introducing his character into the campaign. My name is Nick, also known as Jester X. You can find me on YouTube. This is actually going to be the first video on my YouTube page. Dale, you want to introduce your channel?
Yeah, I'm Dale Underwood and Die. Been working kind of on Heroes of Luxtos and a whole bunch of other little one shots I've been making up. Yeah, pretty much it. I'm playing Ganoob, the Goblin Cleric of Goblins. Yes. Great.
Goblin, Clerical Goblin.
Yep.
All right. So the story starts in the city of Pickbottom. Pickbottom was originally a dwarven city built into the side of a volcano and taken by goblins in a large siege. The goblins were aided in the fact that the dwarves that lived in Pickbottom had been phasing into Azers, as in the world of Tyr, many races, depending on what elements they're around and their descendancy, will actually change with the elements. So a lot of the dwarves had actually just been changing into Azers anyway, and they needed to live closer to the lava at the top of the volcano. So the bottom was already kind of being phased out, and the goblins just came in. Now the Azers rule the upper part of the mountain, and there's pretty much a stalemate between the two races, where they're kind of not really bothering with each other because the goblins can't get up there safely or well enough to take it, and the Azers don't need to be on the ground. Now Pickbottom was a beautiful city, lots of amazing stonework, huge monuments, standard mountain dwarven architecture and all that. But since the goblins have taken over, a lot of the monuments have been destroyed, mostly in the sacking. Anything that's still standing is covered in graffiti and feces and all types of other stuff. Goblins pretty much destroyed the city while they were sacking it and never bothered to clean it up afterwards. So now we'll move into a guild called Boom. Right, this is a goblin guild specializing in alchemy, specifically explosives. Anything else that they make other things usually, like they've made like things like tanglefoot bags and whatever, but everything that doesn't blow up is and a mistake. So, Dale, please describe Ganoob and what he is doing today in Boom.
Okay, so you have this little dwarven. It probably was like a supply room made out of rock walls. It's got some of that graffiti and stuff that are sprayed up onto the outside walls, and just like green and purple smoke billowing out of the windows, and then all of a sudden just a flash of just bright purple light. The door springs wide open, and rolling backwards out of it is this goblin. He looks like your standard everyday goblin. He's actually got yellow skin, but he's got weird little tiger stripe red markings on him. He stands up, looks around. What was I doing? Smoke. Kaboom! And he goes running back into the guild house.
All right, and as Ganoob enters the guild house, a much older goblin comes stumbling off against the wall, kind of like using the wall to help himself stand back up. Comes over to you. Ganoob, Ganoob, that was amazing. You know, for such a youngster, you are very, very talented in Boom. And he holds his hands up to you and he's like gesticulating and all this. Um, his name is Mubak, and he is one of the elder Boom brothers, which is a high-ranking member of the Guild of Boom. Um, his love for explosives is really not matched by any other goblin in the guild. He's not the well, Gnoob's 4. He's so young. So Ganoob is actually a very young member of the guild. So Mubak is his face and hands are distorted by burn scars. He's been experimenting and um, he's been in Boom since he was young. So he actually looks to Ganoob as like a younger brother. He's very excited with Ganoob's ability and hopes to see him do very well. So yeah, he's praising you on blowing yourself out of the building at the moment.
What did I do?
Uh, I'm not really sure what you did there. What were you mixing at the time?
I was mixing things?
Were you not mixing?
He pulls a carrot out of his pocket. Oh, that stuff! And he points to like this kind of reddish powder. Did I use that? I can't remember. Hit my head.
Oh, well, please do it again.
Okay. So he grabs a fistful of the red powder, looks around. The only other thing that he has in his hand is the carrot. So he just kind of takes a alchemist tool, kind of like this pick thing, and just starts hollowing out the inside of the carrot and pours this red powder inside of it and hands it to Mubak. There, try. It's good. I don't know what it does, but it's good.
All right. So, roll a reflex.
Oh dear. That would be 13.
13. Okay. Let me think. Okay. So, as you're going to hand Mubak the carrot gets ripped straight out of your hands. You look over your shoulder and see this enormous goblin. He stands over 3.5 feet tall. He's just immense. And you know him as Zerk. He's one of the bigger goblins, one of the more popular goblins. A lot of people say, to him and behind his back that he probably should have been born a hobgoblin, and it was a curse of the gods that he wasn't. But he grabs the carrot out of your hand and looks at it, looks it over, and he says, "Ganoob, this will never work. This is nonsense. A carrot, a vegetable, will boom.
Yummy.
Vegetables do not boom." And he takes it over and he just throws it down on the floor at his feet. And as he does,
Ganoob kind of jumps the second that he sees him throwing it down at the ground.
Yeah.
He jumps and runs for cover.
Okay. It's probably good that you do that. Actually, as the carrot hits the floor, it just explodes. This massive explosion. Not quite as big as the one that sent you tumbling out of the guild hall, but that was mostly because you were using a larger container at the time. So it explodes right at his feet. And Zerk doesn't even get a chance to get out of the way. Once the smoke clears, you look up, you see just bits of goblin all over the guild hall. Um, yeah, he's covered. Like the hall's just a mess now with goblin bits.
Okay.
Um,
So Ganoob, he kind of looks around at all the goblin bits, tries to find any kind of like leftover from the carrot, because that worked. And maybe if he can find more parts of carrot, he can make it happen again. But he looks around and gets totally distracted by all the goblin bits, tips his finger, and no, that won't boom. And is Mubak still there, or are
yeah,
both of
yeah.
them?
Mubak is covered in Zerk bits at the moment. He's actually at the time you look over to him, he's kind of just like slopping blood and flesh off of his face, and looks over to you and he says, "That is amazing. I never knew vegetables could boom."
Boom, boom. You should try it look more often. Zerk on you works.
Okay.
Yeah, so carrots. Carrots go boom. So he writes, he kind of scribbles onto a piece of paper, not really sure if he's actually writing anything or not, but he's remembering, trying to remember anyways, that carrots go boom.
All right. Um, okay, so Mubak uh, comes up to you now and he says um, that, first he says to you, "Ganoob, you are so young and so talented. I think that we could use this in the war against the humans. Could you, would you be willing to do this in the field?"
What? War?
Yes,
What is
yes.
war?
What war
What is war?
is? War is all goblins going
Oh?
to another. Yeah, well, all older goblins going to a new place and taking it from the people that live there with many boom, all boom.
Boom?
Yes, boom. And I need
All
your
boom?
boom. We need your
Like
boom
Zerk?
much more than Zerk. See, Zerk is very big. Was very big. Humans are bigger, so more boom.
Bigger. He starts scribbling on the piece of paper again. Bigger things, bigger boom. Okay, I can do it. What do I need? Where do I go?
Follow me. Actually, I think we are good with our experiments for the day. Gather up your supplies and come with me.
Okay.
All right.
He looks around and looks at the Zerk bits, grabs a piece of Zerk bone, shoves it in his pocket, grabs like a fistful of Zerk goo, shoves it in his other pocket, and walks out.
All right. Um, so, what's his name? Mubak. Mubak takes you through Pick Bottom. Um, as you're walking by, you notice a lot of younger goblins out playing, fighting over scraps of rotten meat. Large rodents everywhere. The smells of the city that you've become very accustomed to could only be described really as shit. Um, at this, the city, you were born in the city. The city had already been taken it long before you were born. So you're very accustomed to it. But anybody that came there and wasn't used to it would just literally be assaulted with like immense nausea. There's no sewer systems or anything. Any goblins that even bother to not just use their own homes and living quarters as also as bathrooms tend to just go right out on the street. Um, Nobody cleans it up. Usually they leave it for the animals to pick at, and not very many of them actually do that. So as you're walking, you're heading closer towards the mountain, and angling upwards, to a part of the city you've actually never seen before. And as you get up there, you notice that the buildings have less and less structural damage on them. There's little to no graffiti. Everything seems, as the further you walk, the more and more organized everything gets, to a point where, as you're, as you basically, you feel like you're in an alien city at this point. Um, Mubak finally turns to you and he says, "We go in here." And here is a very large hall, with two, heavily armored goblins standing at the doors. Um, so Mubak walks up the stairs and leads you up there. What's that?
Okay. So I would imagine while they were walking, it would take like twice as long as normal. It would take because Gnu would be randomly just walking over to other things, picking at stuff and grabbing animals and picking up dirt, trying to eat it. He would also, the second he gets up to the guards, he'd probably like start poking their armor just to see like if he could do anything with it.
Okay. So after poking it a few times, the goblin is kind of just staring at Ganoob, for a minute, letting him do it, and then he gets sick of it and just slaps his hand out of the way and he's, "State your business."
Would you like a carrot? He shovels around in his pocket. What happened to my carrot?
Mubak grabs your shoulder and he's like, "Hold, wait a minute, Ganoob," and he says to the guards, he says, "We are here to enlist this boy in the army. Um, he is very adept at boom."
He pulls out his Zerk bone. Here. He
This
pulls out the Zerk bone and hands it to the guard.
The guard takes it, looks it over, sniffs it, says, "Where did this come from?" Boom. Mubak says, that was earlier today. That was one of his fellow classmates over at Boom. A carrot did that. And the guard said, "A carrot? That's impossible." And he just hands the bone back to Ganoob and says, "Well, if the boy's as talented as you say, Merduk would love to see him. Head on in." So they part ways, open the door, and allow entry. And again, being that you grew up in such a, you know, terrible, yeah, in such filth, the order,
I was bred.
and neatness of the hall just strikes you. You know, it's not, it's something you've never even imagined before. And then so you head down a hallway, and three doors down, Mubak turns and says, "This here, you can go in. We'll go in together and meet Marduk." Now he, 1 second though. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Yeah. So he
you're
says
back.
Marduk is the recruitment officer, for the Goblin Army. we'll go in and he will decide whether or not to send you. So, do you do anything on like the short walk up there, or are you just
Are
kind of
there anything? Is there anything hanging on the walls? Um, like torches or tapestries or anything like that?
um it's pretty bare bones. There are some like braziers every 15 or 20 feet down the hall on either side of the hallway.
Are they flaming?
Yes.
Okay, so meanwhile, as he's walking down the hallway, he'd be poking at the sconces or whatever the torches are in, and change the color of all the fire to bright green. And poke and poof, green. And if there was any tapestry, so there's no tapestries or anything.
No, there's a like a rug that runs like a carpet that runs down the length of the hallway. But there's no
Okay.
wall hangings or anything.
All right, Ganu would be rolling that carpet up into a big roll as he's walking in front of it. Just he hasn't seen that kind of thing before, so
Right.
he's rolling it up and he wants to take it. And if he isn't stopped, he would roll it up and put it onto like his shoulder.
Okay. Well, it's a pretty long hallway. I think you make it only about three doors down. I'd say maybe 50, 60 feet, still rolling it up. Um,
He would still be rolling it, even if the carpet continues, he would still roll it
okay.
because
Well,
he wants.
so as you approach the door, Mubok stops you and pulls you over to the door and then tells you about Merduk. Um, hopefully enough to
Fine.
distract you. All
Oh,
right.
that
So
one wasn't.
what's that?
That one wasn't green. Poke green.
Okay. So Mubok's waiting for you to decide. Are you going to go into the office, or are you going to continue exploring? Or
Um, Gnu is kind of curious to see what Mubak is really talking about because this war thing and things bigger than goblins just hasn't even crossed his mind before. Bigger things to make explode. So he is just like, okay, let's go that way.
all
Or is it
right.
that way? Which way? Ooh, green. Blue. Returns to first.
All right. So Mubok opens the door and ushers you in. Um, Behind a large desk, about 20 feet in front of you, you see this enormous thing that kind of, I mean, it looks like a goblin. Um, and he's sitting on his desk with with his chin on his on his hand like this. As
Mm-hmm.
he hears the door open, he kind of just like raises one eye, looks up. How can I help you?
Hi. How are you? Who are you?
Oh,
You're big.
please
Very
lower
big.
your voice. I am Merduk.
Oh,
What business do you have? Um,
I make things go boom.
Boom. What?
Boom.
And you can tell he's obviously something's bothering him. He's got this. He's missing his right eye. As you get a better view of him, he wears a patch over his eye um,
Mm-hmm.
with the Eye of Maglubiet in the center of it. It's a very ornate eye patch. It's got the Eye of Maglubiet surrounded by flames. Um,
Yep.
I mean, obviously, you know Maglubiet as being raised in a goblin society as the god of goblins. Um, and he wears this very, very tall, like top hat style. You can only see like from like his shoulders up because of the way he's leaning on the desk. But he's
Mm-hmm.
got a very like official uniform on, like a chain shirt showing under his sleeves of a nice shirt with like badges of with like pretty things on it. as far as you can tell. You have no idea what they symbolize or anything. Um, so he's rubbing his temples, and he looks at you, looks over to the older goblin, looks at you again. He says, "Silence, boy." And he looks up at Mubak, and he says, "Why have you brought a child into my office?" Mubak says, "This boy is very, very talented. I think he would do well in the war effort. Um, do you have any room for somebody of his talents?" Um, and Merduk says, "What, boy? What do you do? You may
He
speak."
Gnu has actually been looking around the room trying to figure out like what's going like what is in the room. I actually dropped out for a little bit while you were describing the room,
Oh,
or
okay.
were you describing the room?
Not. I was more describing the officer. Okay. So the
Okay,
room, probably about
Gnu wasn't
like
paying attention to the officer. He was looking at the room.
okay, that's fine. So the room's probably about like 20, 30 feet deep, from the doorway, and then 15 feet wide. Um, there's like a coat rack over on one corner to the right of the door. Um,
Hmm.
there's two stools of similar shape and size, in the front of the desk that he's sitting at. There's what's that?
That's why I got my copy already.
Sorry about that. There's over in the corner behind him. There's two windows on the wall behind him, and then in the corner, there's a brazier that's lit because he actually has the curtains closed over the windows. Obviously trying to keep the sunlight out. On his desk, he has some papers, um, some writing implements. It's pretty bare bones. The only other thing of notice is a large pile in the opposite corner of the brazier of bottles.
Okay. Is there anything that Gnu could roll up into like just a roll of something, like the rug outside? Still.
Well, he has all the papers on his desk.
Okay.
But other than
So
that,
Gnu.
not really.
Okay. So Gnu says, "1 minute." So he walks out of the room, only listening to the "What can you do?" So he walks out of the room, continues to roll up the rug, walks in with this big, huge rug rolled up, he puts on the ground,
Well, he kind of
out of his pocket.
just Dale, just for reference, the rug was very long. If I'm not gonna make you roll a strength check or anything, but you would have had to drag it in. It wasn't you didn't carry it in.
Okay. So it's like as he's like dragging it in, and he plops it onto the ground, and out of his pocket grabs the Zerk goo and shoves it in the hole, and then he kind of is rolling the rug around. And I will roll the strength check to see if I can pick it up and put it on my shoulder.
Okay.
That was a 17.
All right. And what's your strength?
My strength is a 15.
Okay. I'm gonna say you get most of it. I mean, it's pretty wide, and considering your
It's
height,
like rolling. It's
yeah,
unraveling it.
yeah. So like you can get like if it was completely rolled up, you could probably get it like up on your shoulder, and you'd be like crooked leaning with it like a part of it just dragging on the
Okay.
floor.
Okay. Okay. So what Canoe would do is he would start just whispering to himself. Boom, boom, and as he keeps saying boom, he'd get louder and louder and louder. He would actually be using his thaumaturgy
Uh-huh.
to aid with it. Boom, boom, and he would scream boom, and shooting straight towards above, like right above the hobgoblin out the window, he would cast Sacred Flame.
Um, all
Which
right,
that is flame like radiance descends on a creature that you see in range, but I'm aiming right above his head
right.
because I don't want to kill him because he could kill me really easily.
So he as the carpet ignites, he kind of just ducks down, looks up over his head, knocks his hat off of his head, looks back at you, and says to Mubak. He doesn't even say anything to you. He says, "This boy would be great in the army. How
Do you have a
soon can
carrot?
how soon can he be ready to leave?" And Mubak looks at you and is like, "You go today?"
Do you have a carrot?
I have no carrots. I prefer meat and drink.
You have meat?
I like meat. I don't have meat.
Meat? Oh. What about today? What am I doing today?
You're going to war today.
Going to work. Big boom?
Yes, yes. Make big boom, but
Big
not in my
boom!
office, please. Please lower your voice.
Big boom! And he's using thaumaturgy again. Big
All right. He
boom!
stands up,
Obviously,
slams the
super
desk, and says, "Get out!"
excited. Okay! He takes off.
And so
Leaving the rug, leaving everything.
yeah, leaving everything. And as Mubak's on his way, I mean, you don't hear it, but he says something to Mubak as you're leaving. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mubak comes out. I don't. Which did you like leave the building or like
No,
where?
he just took off out of the room and started playing with the torches again, turning it from green to blue to green, blue to green, blue.
Okay. So Mubak comes back out and he says, um, "Canoe, I think that went well. Um, so we
Oh!
must. Do you have everything you need, or do you need to gather anything before you leave?"
Carrots.
Okay.
And he
Well,
says that his eyes just like glow and he just gets this evil grin. Carrots.
all right. So Mubak says, "Okay. Um, so okay, we will get your carrots, and then we must get you on the ship.
Chips.
Yes, this ship.
He points to
We,
he points to
uh,
the wall, thinking that there was going to be poop there, and looks really confused for a second. No ship on the walls.
no ship on walls. No. Um, it's a different ship. This ship goes carries goblins on water to war."
Big. What kind of creature did that come out of?
We're not sure. I think we stole it.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So,
Can I make that go boom too?
huh?
Can I make that go boom too?
You may not want to while you're on it. Um,
Oh yeah, go. Yep, yep, yep. That's right. Okay.
okay. You
I get
maybe,
carrots.
yeah, get carrots. Okay. Uh,
And then Canute just not paying attention to anyone around him other than getting carrots from his little stash that he has underneath a rock because he really doesn't live anywhere. He just wanders around. Um, he not only does he grab his carrot, but he grabs like all of his things in a giant satchel. He's walking around trying to find something to do. Completely forgot that he was supposed to go to war.
All right. So I get Mubak kind of just like went back towards Boom with him, and then kind of let him go collect his things. Uh, I guess if a few hours later, Mubak stumbles across and he's, Kanoob, you were supposed to be at the docks an hour ago.
What a carrot!
Is this a full carrot? Did you put any Boom in it?
You can put Boom in carrots?
I'll take the carrot, thank you. Um,
Yeah.
but you must hurry. You must hurry to the docks. We need to get you to war. Big Boom, Big Boom.
Big Boom, Big Boom,
Yes,
Big Boom.
Big Boom. Come, we must hurry.
He points to the poop on the wall. Ship.
Yes, big ship.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Okay, so you get to the docks, and sheer stroke of luck, the boat is still there and preparing to leave on this very day. Um, so Mubak hustles you up to the plank to the gangway and approaches one of the ship crew and says, "This is Ganoob. He will be accompanying you for the war effort."
For Boom.
For Boom. And the goblin on the ship crew member looks at you, says, "Okay, you come. We find you a place to sleep." And then,
Boom.
so Mubak waves farewell to you as you're leaving. Gives you and he hands you a bag of gold. And says, "You may need this while you're out there. Don't spend it all at once." Okay,
And he looks at the bag and looks inside of it, smells it, closes it, pulls out a bag similar, opens it up, pulls out a gold piece from his bag, puts it back in, and puts the bag inside the other bag.
all right. So add actually just 2 gold pieces to your.
Did you forget that?
As far as Mubak's concerned, 2 gold pieces in a bag is a bag of gold.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So go ahead. So you get on the ship. The ship is very large. Um, there's 2 levels to it. On the deck, there's a lot of soldiers hustling around. Very older goblins. All of them look very, fit, strong, or at least sly. I mean, as far as goblins go, it's not always the strength, but the numbers that matter when you go to war.
Yeah.
So actually, the deck is literally packed with goblins, like standing room only. Where do you want to go on the ship? There is a lower level, or if you're comfortable on the top level, that's fine too.
Okay. So Ganoob is looking around, looking for this giant ship. Even though he's on the ship, he's looking for this giant ship. He pokes the person standing next to him. I know it smells better. How do it smell better here?
What's that?
I thought it would smell better here.
Thought it would smell better than the city?
There's, where's the ship?
Oh, there will be plenty of ship. Trust me.
Okay.
And then another goblin that overheard the conversation looks over to you, and he's got a much worse attitude than the jovial one that you were just actually talking to. He says, "You're standing on it."
But it's not squishy.
And then as you look down and say that, he just kicks a pile of his own crap under your feet and says, "Now you are."
Tastes better. So he picks up a handful of this stuff and puts it in his pocket.
Yep.
And he takes out a carrot and takes out like this little knife and cuts off the top, puts the top in his pocket, turns the carrot up, and then he starts following it,
All right. So
just
as
sitting there.
as this is
Not
going
distracted.
on, the ship kind of lurches a little bit, and you feel the
I dropped it.
huh?
I dropped the carrot.
Oh, well, luckily you weren't praying when you did it. So, yeah, the ship lurches a little bit, and then you can kind of feel it moving and turning. If you look up, you notice the city kind of moving away from you. Um, and I'm gonna have you roll. No, not yet, actually. So the ship leaves, heads out. Is there anything else? Like, are you gonna explore the ship at all? Are you comfortable to stay on deck the whole time? Is there any
Um,
questions you
I would
have?
imagine that could be looking around for stuff. Um, is, are there any barrels of anything or
Um,
on the deck?
on the deck, there's not uh too much. It's mostly just soldiers on the deck. There's a few crew members bustling around, trying to move in between the soldiers, but it's pretty much the deck is just full of like ropes and goblins. Up near the rear end of the ship, you see a large hobgoblin um, that is just shouting at crew members and soldiers alike. He doesn't seem to differentiate between them. If something needs to get done, um, the nearest goblin does it, um,
Okay.
or he expects the nearest goblin to do it. Um,
Okay.
down,
I'm gonna stay away from that guy
yeah.
because I don't like doing things that I don't want to do. Um,
So let's see.
I'm gonna try to avoid that guy as much as possible. Um, and I would imagine he would just explore the deck, pick up little scraps of stuff along the way. Are there any like birds or anything flying around?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of birds in the area. They mostly seagulls. They seem to be like attracted to the smells coming off the ship. But there's not really too much like too much room for them to land. So they kind of just circle it. They'll touch down for a minute and then be bumped by one of the soldiers and fly off again.
Okay. So Ganoob would make another one of his carrot bombs.
Hmm.
But he would like fill it with the poop that he found,
Yeah.
put the cap back on, and he would lob the carrot out at a seagull that would be flying out over the ocean. Just see what happened.
Okay. So as he lobs it out, um, the seagull kind of just dodges out of the way of it, not really realizing it was coming at him until the last second. And then seeing what it was, once it hits the water, the seagull actually just dive bombs and grabs it out of the water.
Where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be a big, loud, earth-shattering kaboom!
Apparently, shit.
So as he says kaboom,
Uh-huh.
I roll a 13 plus 5 for Sacred Flame
On damage or an attack roll?
for to hit.
Oh, yeah, you definitely hit. Um, and
Okay.
go ahead and describe that.
Seagull gets 8. It's got a dex save, though. It's got a dexterity check.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I rolled a 1. So go ahead and describe what happens as the seagull grabs the carrot out of the water.
Okay. So the seagull grabs the carrot out of the water, and I would imagine it would try to eat it, and it would be sticking out of its mouth,
Yeah.
and then the carrot would start to smoke, filling up the seagull with smoke, and it would start to like waver around in air, and as it's falling down, it just pops, giant explosion off the side, off the port bow.
All right. And yeah, as it pops, chunks fly everywhere. A couple feathers float down onto the deck. A lot of the goblins on deck look over when they hear the sound and just see the chunks flying around. Not too many of them um, are aware of what happened, except for one or two that were watching you put shit into the carrot.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of just like back away from you and turn around.
Okay. So, succeeding at what he was trying to do. It's gonna go down underneath. Gonna go below the deck. Or attempt to climb his way with all the distractions of poop and other goblins.
All right, so maybe 20 minutes later, you make the 30-foot trek to the stairs leading down. Um, when you get down there, even to your pick bottom desensitized nose, the downstairs smells disgusting. You as soon as you get beyond like the barrier of fresh air, all you smell is just unwashed bodies, body odor, feces, urine. It's just everything you could possibly imagine. Every terrible smell you could imagine. There's a smell of rot a little bit that you're not really sure where it's coming from. Um, so as you step down, a rat scurries across your feet. Um,
I'm gonna try to catch it.
all right, roll. All right, I guess I'll just make an opposed grapple check then.
All right. Would that be a? That would be a 6.
Friends. Okay, yeah, I rolled a 1, so you caught it.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
He just starts petting the rat and talking to the rat. I can make a lot of booms. I make booms. Do you like booms? Can I make a boom? Can I make you boom?
The rat kind of just it's squirming a little bit, and it wraps its tail around your wrist a little bit to kind of catch its balance, so it's not freaking out so much. Um, but it doesn't bite you or anything. It's just kind of squirming a lot. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just You were just about to explain what the rat did.
Oh yeah, yeah. It started squirming around in your hands as you're talking to it. Its tail um kind of loosely wraps around your wrist. Really, I mean, rats just do that, kind of stabilize themselves when they're in the air. It's not like aggressive or anything. It
Mhm.
doesn't bite you, but it's definitely trying to get out of your hands.
Hmm. So I take it in my other hand and try to shove it into my coat sleeve, and then I wrap something around my coat sleeve.
Okay.
Save it for later.
All right. Um, you so now you're kind of a little lopsided with the weight of it. It's actually a rather large. It's not
Mhm.
enormous, but it's a pretty big rat.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of just twisting, twirling around inside your sleeve, trying to get out. So, anyways, you look up, you see uh, benches on either side of like a main walkway, um, with creatures of all different sizes and races, three to a bench, all holding this big, each holding like a big wooden pole, like three men to a pole, pushing and pulling to a drum beat, that you can hear from the opposite end of the ship. And as the sound reaches your ears, actually, um, you feel like really good, actually. Like motivated a little bit. You feel like things are going to turn out
Boom,
okay.
boom, boom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, boom, 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 boom. So I think
Yep.
the mixture of the onomatopoeia and maybe a little bit of magic, even kind of, it makes you feel like really good about what's coming. Uh,
Okay.
anyway, so uh, against the corners and stuff where there aren't people, um, it's just crates and crates and crates of weapon, like army supplies, like weapons, armor, food rations that half of them are rotting. Um, and there's a door on one end, on the end behind the drummer, um, that you're not sure where that door leads to. Uh, there's a few goblins, um, also downstairs, sitting up with the drummer, um, that have pots next to them, some bottles, like spoons and stuff. And they're just sitting there relaxing, watching the oarsmen row, listening to the drum beat.
Boom, 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 boom. So Canoe would probably be walking to the beat of the drum and actually take out the rat and start making the rat dance along as he's walking. Boom, 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 boom. Um, and he would just start dancing along with the drum beat uh, until something happened because he likes music a lot. Boom, boom. Especially the boom music.
Okay. Um, so nobody really bothers you, for a little while. Um,
And I give a little bit of carrot to the rat too. I like him. He's my friend.
Alright. So nobody really bothers you for a little while. The oarsmen seem pretty intent on what they're doing. if you bother to like glance up at them, you might notice some like open sores on their backs. You're not, I mean, you could probably tell they didn't put there themselves, kind of things. Um, like straight lines, streak marks. Some have more than others, but they all are pretty intent on their job. And like I said, these are creatures of all different sizes, shapes. They look. I mean, I don't know. You may have seen an Azer, um, or a representation of one, being so young, but you've never been exposed to like other races before, so that's something that might be a little striking to you, is seeing these different
So he's on
creatures.
fire, right?
What?
Acers are on fire, right?
Yeah. But there's no Azers in the ship though. But I'm just saying, like as far as
Okay.
other races, like you saw your first you saw your first two hobgoblins today. Um, like
Yep, that's right.
you've only seen goblins up till today, and now you're being exposed to a huge range of creatures.
Mm-hmm. So I put that back in my sleeve.
What's that?
I put my rat back into my sleeve.
Okay.
Um, and I make my way back up onto the deck.
All right. So just for time's sake, Dale, this trip is expected to take um about a week, which is 6 days on tier. Um, so unless there's anything else that you like really want to do, we can kind of do a little time hop. Um,
Okay. Um, is there any like how does this ship run? Does it run from wind or just oars or?
oh, it's just oars. The slaves downstairs are the only thing that makes it run.
Okay. Yeah, we can fast forward.
All right. So, all right. So as after the first day, actually just even a few hours into the trip, land completely disappears from sight. You can't see any direction you look on the horizon. You just see water. Um, Pretty clear skies. Like a few clouds come by. Everyone like, but the weather's actually been pretty decent. Sometimes the waves get a little bit choppy. You can make a Constitution check if you want. You might have puked one or two times or 20 in
I
the
rolled a
time.
2.
Yeah, you. All right. So your time spent between dancing downstairs and puking and sleeping, pretty much.
Yeah.
um. Anyway, so three
And
days.
have I made friends with the rat? Is he like my buddy now?
Let me.
Does they got a racial thing. They got a racial thing just like with wolves or rats.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't know that. Let me. I just don't know all the skills here. All right. Yeah. Make an animal handling check. So it's just a basic wisdom check, I think.
A 15.
All right. Where's skills in the player's handbook? Sorry about that. I wasn't really expecting you to try to make friends with the rat. Which is fine. It's awesome.
I like rats.
Oh,
I'm
here's
goblin. I'm supposed to like rats.
animal handling. When there's a question whether you can calm down a domesticated animal due to intuitive animal. Also, check control your mouth when attempting. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely say you've managed to make it amiable, and friendly. It unless you're like forcing it to stay with you all the time, it it'll go like searching for food or whatever, and then come back and hang out with you when it's satiated.
Yep.
So yeah, it kind of just spends time around you. Um,
I give
when
it
it,
carrots.
yeah, yeah, especially when you give it carrots because it's probably the freshest food it's got on the ship.
These aren't like normal. These aren't like fresh carrots. They're like the carrots that you pick up and it's like it's like a droop.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Oh,
aren't fresh carrots.
no, but they're probably fresher than half the shit that's on the ship. Uh, um, yeah. So anyway, so 3 days into it, where is? All right, 3 days into it, the sea's very calm today. Actually, this has probably been the least amount of puking you've done since you left port. Um, you're just sitting up on the deck playing with your rat. He's kind of crawling over your legs, up on your shoulders, and whatever, hanging out with you. Um, as that's what I was looking for. Okay. Um, sorry about the. Okay.
Okay, so I would imagine that a lot of different things are puking as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's
You said
plenty.
that there were empty bottles.
No, no. The empty bottles were in the Hobgoblin's office.
Oh,
Back
okay.
in Pick Bottom.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I was. He was a drunk. But you didn't
Good.
bother talking to him too much. Okay, so anyway, I was looking at the wrong fucking spell. Okay. uh, all right. So as the very quickly, you just glance up at the sky really quick, um, and very quickly the clouds seem to start like coalescing overhead, coming in from all directions. Like it's not like a normal wind pattern. The clouds are literally just converging over the ship. The water starts getting really choppy, um, and then a storm just forms out of nowhere, seemingly. You start seeing lightning start shooting out of the clouds. It's just an immense downpour.
I'm going instantly down into the lower deck.
All right. Cool. So yeah, you hear a lot. You hear a lot of yelling and shouting up on the deck. Um, the ship starts tossing. Make a reflex check real quick.
7.
All right. So as you're heading downstairs, the ship lurches from a wave hitting it, and you're kind of thrown off of it. Uh, as you're descending, you kind of just like lose your footing and fall. Take one damage. Um, it's not as falling. You just kind of like lose your footing and fall down real quick.
The ship broke my fall.
uh, so yeah, so the ship starts like violently lurching back and forth. There's water like sloshing down in from the deck. The oarsmen are all freaking out. Um, as you're picking yourself up, actually, you hear the drum stops. You hear a huge just crack, right? And as as you look up to hear where the sound came from, you see three of the oarsmen that were all sitting on a bench together, kind of just stumble backwards, with half of the oar in their like with the part of the oar in their hand. The rest of it broke off. Um, and yeah, the ship's just yeah, it's really bad. There's chaos. If you can probably surmise that if the slaves weren't chained to their spots right now, that all just have gotten up and started running. Um, as it is, they're all just trying to hold their oars down. They're not really moving them. They're just kind of all just pushing in the same direction, trying to hold them steady so they don't like whip back and hit them in the face or anything. Um,
Hmm.
the captain comes up from the door behind the drummer seat, uh, where learned that that was actually his cabin, and he was the only person on the ship that actually had his own place. So he comes up, sees you, um, and he says he looks at you. Are you the boy that blew up the seagull?
Uh-huh.
Come with me now. And he grabs you by the arm and pulls you back up on the deck.
Okay.
Uh, all right. So as you get back on the deck, you can see actually that things have gone from really bad to much worse in a short amount of time. Um,
Mhm.
he pulls you up to the rear of the deck where he usually gives his commands from, um, just to get a better view of what's going on. Uh, and as you look into the water, you notice that it's no longer like the greenish blue it was, but like a solid, like almost completely opaque black color. Um, and yeah, so and as you're looking too, I mean, other oars have snapped. The ship's lurching all over the place. There's really no rhyme or reason to what's out. A lot of the crew have actually fallen off the side, just from the lurching and stuff. All the soldiers that are standing on the ship. Um,
Okay.
and so I don't know, is anything catching your eye in particular, or are you just kind of scared and standing around waiting for this dude to tell you to do something?
Um, well, he grabbed me and dragged me up. Um, Instantly, I look around. I see this black ocean. Um, does it look like it's nature? Does it look like it's natural black, or does it look like it's something different, like it's
Um,
cursed?
it's
I roll a knowledge nature, and I rolled an 18 with my -1.
okay. It doesn't look magical. I mean, the black, the. All right. So with your roll, you can tell that the storm is absolutely not natural. Like it shouldn't have just came on you like that. You can tell something's going on,
Mhm.
but the blackness in the water seems natural.
Okay.
If a little
I am
extreme.
actually Gnu, realizing that this isn't normal. He is actually going to look up at the storm and using his thaumaturgy just to like try to make him seem as awesome and as important as possible. He's gonna jump up and point up at the sky and scream, "Stop!" And he's actually going to use his command spell even to do that.
On the
Um,
storm?
he's gonna scream. Yeah, he's gonna use his command spell, which it's going to be halt. It's a if the storm has a DC, it's a DC 13 for it to save. If what I don't know. That's what the goblin would do. He would tell the storm to stop,
Okay.
and then the target doesn't move and takes no action. Flying creatures stay aloof, provide that it is able to do so. If it if it must move, stay aloof. It flies the minimum distance needed to remain in the air. So pretty much, I'm just telling the storm to stop what it's doing and just stop.
Okay. Um, the storm itself doesn't seem to take any notice of your command. Um, the the captain kind of looks at you and says, "Boy, I wish that was as simple as that." uh,
What's to stop?
so as so after immediately after the captain says that, you hear a loud crack, like a loud crash against the side as the ship starts lurching. You can kind of tell that whatever something hit the side of the ship. Um, so, assuming you look in that direction,
Mm-hmm.
you see something like long, thick, but like consistently thick, come up and grab one of the crew members that fell overboard and drag him underwater. Um,
Ow.
and and then as that was immediately after that happens, another one comes up out of the water, and it's enormous. It comes straight up out of the water and lands on top of the deck and just crashes down on the ship.
I am going to instantly put the rat from my sleeve into my pouch and tie my pouch as tightly as I can. And I'm going to look at the captain and say, that could make a big boom.
The captain says, "I'm not." The captain kind of ignores you, and he now seeing something attacking the ship and having an idea of actually what's going on around him, at least a little bit. He starts barking orders at the nearest goblin, telling them to attack the monster and try to get it away from the ship, at least injure it enough to get it to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So are we rolling initiative?
yeah, we're rolling initiative.
I go on a 12.
All right. This guy is gonna go on. Okay.
The Kraken of Pickbottom.
Huh?
The Kraken of Pickbottom.
Ah. Yeah.
See what I did there?
What's that?
See what I did there?
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm using the when armies clash rules, like the major encounter things,
Mm-hmm.
just to make the fight go a little bit faster.
Okay.
So the ship's basically going to go on one initiative count. I'm going to give you your own initiative, and then the monster's going to have its own initiative.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
So it's going to be three. It's going to be three creatures, including you in the combat. So
Okay.
um, so the first attack goes to the ship. So all the remaining goblin soldiers, upon hearing the command of the captain, immediately draw whatever weapons they have. Most of them really just had daggers on them or whatever, but they run up to the Kraken tentacle and try to attack it before it pulls itself off the ship. Managed to hit it. So
Sure.
yeah, I don't really know how to do. Alright, here's damage. Apply damage to stands. Hit points is over. An individual creature stand takes damage.
How many goblins are attacking?
Huh?
How many goblins are attacking?
Well, I'm calling it a unit.
Okay, roll. I would say the D20 damage would work, right?
Yeah, but then that kind of
Plus
that
20.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I don't want it to just do just one damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so cool. They do a good amount of
Sweet.
damage there. Let me just pop up a notepad real quick.
Real life persuasion check. Awesome.
No, no, it makes sense. And Kraken's got a shitload of hit points, so I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it. Uh, okay. I'm very not prepared to write anything today, apparently. Okay. Mm, all right. So I did. Okay. Now it is the Kraken's turn. Okay, so what's its attacks? Make 3 tentacle attacks. All right. So one tentacle slams into the side of the ship. Uh, Somehow not actually doing any damage. Another tentacle, the one that's on the deck, actually does like a sweep attack to the crew members, trying to grab them up. Crits.
Ah!
Okay, and then fling. So what happens is the tentacle that was on the deck when they started attacking it just curled, like coiled up on whatever was on the like one side of it, lifted every single one of them up off the deck and launched them 60 feet, between 10 and 40 feet off the deck into the water. Um, yeah, and then now it's Ganoob's turn.
Okay. So how close am I to this slimy giant tentacly monster
Um,
thing?
there was one tentacle that's like flailing just off the side of the deck, probably 50 feet away from you. Um,
Okay.
and then you can see 2 other tentacles above the surface of the water. The rest of it's just this inky black water.
Okay. All right. So what Canoe does is he is going to reach deep into his pocket, grabbing whatever muck or mire that's inside there, and he is going to run straight at the closest tentacle if it's not overboard. And as he's running, he's going to smear his hand along it, and then jump back, disengage, and then cast Sacred Flame on it.
All right. So there's a save DC for
So
that.
it's a reflex save with a DC 13.
All right. So I made the save, so that's half damage or full.
Um, Target must succeed on a dexterity savings throw or take 8 D8 radiant damage. So it doesn't seem like it takes any damage at all.
Okay. All right. Then back to.
So Canoe would probably just smear the stuff on there and say, boom! And then have just this look of, what? On his face.
All right. All right. So, um, then the water around the boat actually just you kind of just see lightning arcing through it for a quick second. Uh, and then you see like the people that the goblins that got thrown off the deck kind of just scrambling around in the water. None of them seem to actually have gotten hurt from it this time though. Back to the Kraken's turn. That same tentacle that was just on the deck comes crashing back down on the ship. Attack bonus plus 18 to hit. Okay. So I definitely hit it, and then 3D. Oh no, not that. 3d6.
All I heard is that it came crashing down on the ship. What happened?
Yeah, it came crashing down on the ship, doing 34 damage to the deck.
So how does the deck look now? Does it look like it's
It's
we're
fine.
about to?
It's fine. There's like the sidewalls kind of splintered a little bit. The floor is still stable.
Okay.
One goblin got completely crushed under it.
Oh. At least my rat is safe.
Yeah, and then another tentacle comes up actually from the other side of the ship and just smashes into the side of it. Plus 18. All right. Basically, if I don't roll a 1, I hit. All right. 5, 9, 38. Another 38 damage to the ship. And then last tentacle comes up from another angle and actually just crashes into the water, completely missing the ship. Okay. All right, now it is the ship's turn. So, no, it's the ship's turn.
Oh,
okay. Didn't act again yet. Or actually, I think I skipped it and went in the wrong order. Anyway, yeah. So, so you actually, you see, looking down or behind you real quick, you hear the drum beat from downstairs. It's a little bit different this time, but you hear it, and it kind of gives you a little rush. You're gonna get +1 to your attacks and damage, but as long as the music continues. And
cool.
the goblins all attack the tentacle that just crashed down again, hitting it again for. I'm actually just giving them the same damage the Kraken's getting, rather than doing the 1d20 roll, just because I can actually do more damage this way. Well, there's a possibility for it at least. So
Whatever's clever.
all right. Did 22 damage. Now it is turn.
Okay. So Gnu, seeing that his explosion attack didn't work, he's going to, now that he has something that he can yell at, he's going to yell at the Kraken, "Go away!" and trying his command spell again.
Okay. Is there max HD on command or?
I don't know. He would try it anyways.
Right. I'm
He
just.
would still try to cast it anyways.
Yeah. I just don't know whether or not it actually will do anything.
Command. Speak one word. Command to a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn. My DC is 13. The spell has no effect if the target is undead, if it doesn't understand your language, or if your command is directly harmful to it. So I'm pretty sure I didn't speak Kraken.
You didn't. Do you?
So typical command. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So it doesn't understand.
So it has no effect.
No. Krakens actually speak quite a few languages or understand them, but Goblin's not one of them.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're intelligent actually.
Huh.
They're actually really intelligent. Their intelligence score is 22.
What did I do to the Kraken?
Food.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah. So anyway, it's the Rock's turn, which is the name of the ship.
Okay.
Um,
The rock.
yeah,
I
which
have a rock. Jake's got a rock.
all right. So, or no, actually, wait, initiative 20. Yeah. Okay. So all right. So that doesn't need to be explained. What's happening? Then, all right. So the rock attacks 12. All right. They this time don't. Oh, they did actually hit. Forgot. I almost forgot about the inspired courage bonus.
We have a bard?
Yeah, I was the
Might as well
drummer.
make that.
The drummer. I kind of tried to get that point across when you were casting it.
I'm a
Okay.
goblin.
Right.
These things are new to me.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying not to. Um, in playing this, I'm actually gonna try not to like just tell people what class things are, and I'd actually
Yeah,
prefer it if
absolutely.
like the players don't tell each other their classes.
I
Um,
don't tell anyone my class.
yeah. Well, I figured you wouldn't. I'm just stating it. Um, yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
so the Kraken. A tentacle sweeps across the deck, um, catching up a couple goblins in its grasp, um, and then doing say 18. No, doing 24 damage. And then it flings those goblins into the water. Uh, one of them
They
actually
swim.
hit. Yeah, they can swim. One of them actually hit the side of the ship and died. Um, and then another tentacle slams into the side of the ship, causing a 21 damage.
Hmm.
Right, it is Gnoom's turn.
Okay. So Ganoob looks down at his pouch and explains to his rat in the most polite way possible. He's gonna get bumpy from here on in. So then he grabs his mace, which is a little more than a rock at the end of a stick, painted with all sorts of bright, flashy colors. And he is going to charge and swing at the tentacle with all of his might, screaming some form of obscenities. I haven't thought that deep into it.
What's
I'm just
that?
acting. I'm just reacting.
Yeah.
And I fumble.
Oh, that's nice. All right. I'm not gonna make you drop anything or anything. This fight's bad enough. I'm just gonna say you like lurch. Um, actually,
I slip and fall, and now I'm underneath the tentacle.
yeah, yeah, that works. Yeah, actually, that works for me. Actually, we're gonna make that a new house rule. Characters roll a one. You tell me what happened.
Okay, cool.
All right. Uh, all right. So back to initiative.
So
The
I'm
water,
prone now.
the water crackles again. Um, the creatures in the water each take about 20 damage. You kind of a good amount of the goblins that were in the water just start floating belly up. A few of them are still trying to swim away from the ship, but a good many of them just died, like just got fried in the water.
Toaster
Um,
and Batman.
yeah. Then the rock's turn. The captain actually charges in now, and tries to jab his sword into the Kraken as the rest of the guys are attacking too. That time definitely missed. Kraken's turn. Tentacle slams down on the deck.
On
Tentacle hit.
me?
Oh, no, just on the deck. It kind of lifted up off you and slammed back down.
Okay.
27 damage. 54 damage. Tentacle slams into the side. Hits. And then now one more tentacle kind of just latches on to the side of the ship, and the Kraken's body just rears up out of the water and is looking onto the deck now. You see this enormous head actually about the width. It's the width of its head is about the length of the ship you're on. Just rows and rows of teeth. These huge eyes just staring onto the ship. And you can see that it's not just some animal trying to feed. There's a lot more to it than that. And now it is Gnoom's turn.
Okay. So Canoe is going to get up out of the prone position and look at this giant eye right in front of him. And he is going to pull out of his pocket another just massive just muck and mire that he pulls out from the very bottom of his pocket. And using thaumaturgy to if there's anything on fire with the lightning going through everything, if there's anything on fire, the fire is going to turn bright green. And as he screams, like a giant thunderclap comes, and he is going to huck this fistful of stuff at right into this Kraken's eye, or whatever it is, eye. And it needs to make a reflex save.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can actually do that much in one turn, but I would like to.
Well, you just throw. What are you casting, 2 spells or?
I'm using thaumaturgy. I'm using 2 cantrips at once, pretty much.
Okay. What's the other one you're using?
Sacred Flame.
Okay, but your thaumaturgy is kind of just a flavor spell, right?
Yeah, I'm using kind of this flavor.
Yeah, I'll allow it then. That's fine.
Cool.
So yeah, this
Needs to
thing's
make a reflex save of 13.
okay.
It needs to blink.
I managed to actually just get 13 on that roll. But I definitely took notice of that.
So just this pile, just this. It doesn't know what I just threw at it.
It knows you threw
exploded
something at
right
it.
in front of the eye, and it didn't actually get the eye, but it exploded right in front of the eye. So, and everything was just like thunderous and green and bright and shiny, just like an wants it.
So the Kraken lets out this enormous just screech, staring directly at you. Its jaws open up enormously, and it rears
Can I
down.
run?
Well, I don't know. Did you make a move action on that? Because you could probably move away from it.
I got off the ground.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, so um, a huge current comes and just like smashes into the opposite side of the ship, forcing the ship closer to the Kraken's head. Um, and then now it's the Rock's turn. So they they're gonna attack the tentacles that are holding on to the side of the ship at the moment. And that was crooked dice. I'm gonna roll it one more time because it was almost a 20 on the crooked one, and then it was a 1 on the other one. So, all right, that hit. Uh, Kraken takes 15 damage. All right, it is the Kraken's turn. Um, it it take the tentacles that are currently on the side of the ship just yank down on it, trying to just capsize the ship. um, so as it does that, it rolled a 20. Um,
Who needs to make a strength check?
yeah. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say it didn't roll high enough to actually capsize the ship, but it did tear away the wall a little bit. So it's 10, 12. Okay. And then in pulling on it though, it pulled the ship even closer to itself to kind of get its head over the deck. And it goes to clamp down, just in the area you're in. I mean, targeting you, but really just targeting the area in general. Oh, come back. Come back.
It's on the table, doesn't count.
Huh? No. All right. I rolled a 1. So the Kraken snaps its jaws just over your head. You manage to duck down as it's coming. Uh, the captain of the Rock actually was standing pretty close to you. Went to stab at him as the head came down, and as the jaws clamped and pulled back, the Kraken's head just came away, and you look over and see that Captain no longer has his sword on. And now now it is your turn.
Okay.
Just hit the
Can I see the
selected
sword
button
arm?
until it says off. No, it's in the Kraken's mouth.
It's in the Kraken's mouth. Can I see it in the Kraken's mouth?
You can probably see like a stump of it in between the teeth.
Okay.
It's just like a small.
And considering it's already touching him,
Huh?
I am going to point directly at the stump of the arm and say, boom, and cast Sacred Flame again at it.
All right. So I gotta make a.
And then I'm going to run away.
Huh? And then you're gonna run away. I need to make a dex check, right?
Because I just blew up the captain's sword arm.
Right. So I
It's
gotta.
going to hurt.
Yeah, it will. But I need a dex
Reflex
check
save.
for the Kraken, right? Oh, yeah, reflex. Okay. 10. So nothing.
Yes!
Boom. How much damage does that do?
It does 8 points of boom damage!
Boom. All
And
right.
I'm running away from them.
One of the Kraken's teeth actually shatters as the explosion goes off. And you're running away.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I can disengage and run away. So I don't provoke an attack of opportunity.
Okay. Uh,
because I'm a goblin.
Right. All right. Make a dexterity saving throw, reflex check.
Or
A bolt of lightning comes out of the sky and strikes at you.
ow! What happens?
What did you roll?
I rolled a 4 for my dexterity saving
Your
throw.
saving throw. Oh shit. How many hit points do you have?
I have 11 maximum.
All right. You take 9 lightning damage.
Ow!
Um, 2 more lights come down and just hit other um, crew members. One of them is completely obliterated. Dude, you got so lucky on that fucking roll. It's a 40-10 damage roll. And then another one manages just to survive. Now it's the Rock's turn. Seeing the captain lose his sword arm, the drummer kind of just like loses his shit and just drops the drum basically, stops playing. The bonus is gone. Also, looking around you, just you just notice the ship is definitely not in good condition right now. The sides are splintering, the floor is caved in spots. Uh, it's definitely looking like a losing battle. But the crew members are still fighting back. They attack, manage to hit the Kraken. Tentacle, 20 damage. Okay. All right, and then the Kraken's turn. All right, 3 tentacles just slam into the side of the ship. I think it's realizing that getting its head in that close right now is not helping it very much. All right, 1 hit, 2 hits, critical hit. So
How do I only 6 lives?
probably lose them when you say it. 16 and 8 is 24. All right, 24 is 44. And then this guy. All right. Okay. All right. With that last attack, the Kraken's pretty much put the ship out of commission. It's still floating, but even if the Kraken gets destroyed or scared off, you're pretty much just going to be floundering on the ship at this point. Like the oars have all been destroyed,
Okay.
and a lot of the crew's been lost. It's your turn.
So the Kraken's head is moving off of the ship. Is it still moving off the ship, or is it off the ship now?
It's too far for a melee attack. There's still like tentacles that you could hit.
No, I want to run and jump onto the head.
Okay.
I'm gonna run. So I just got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
I turn around, sparks flying from my now shock white tuft of hair poking out of the side. I look around at the ship.
Uh,
You broke my ride. You are going to take me to war. And he runs fast as he can. And he is going to jump as high and as far as he can, which I can jump 15 feet straight forward because it's a strength. The equal to your strength score is your is how far you can jump forward.
yeah, with a 10 foot or more run.
Yeah. And I am going to try to latch onto this Kraken because he's going to take me to war.
Okay. So make a I don't know what's higher, strength or dexterity for you.
They're both equal.
All right. Make an athletics check then.
Okay. 20!
Oh, really?
Yes! Yes!
All right. You all right. You managed to latch. You. All right. So you jump, and the Kraken opens its mouth actually as you jump towards it. And you manage to get just under its jaws. And I don't know if you have a picture of the Kraken. I mean, I'm assuming you're not looking at it because you're nice and not metagaming and stuff.
I'm not metagaming, I'm just going to look at the picture now.
Yeah. Just look at the picture of it. It's on page 196. And it's under its mouth. It's got like what looks like little mini like earthworm tentacles or whatever. I mean, they're not mini. They're bigger than sharks. But yeah, you managed to just like latch onto one of those.
Cool. That thing is pretty cool looking. I like the
It's
fighting
like
Kraken.
Kraken. Like I've never seen a not good Kraken. It's awesome.
Right.
But yeah, so you managed to latch right onto that.
Wait. Have you, not to stray off topic, but have you seen Clash of the Titans?
I haven't.
The old one? The old Clash of the Titans?
Maybe,
The
but
Kraken in that is just like a monstrous human-looking thing.
oh really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, Ganoob is now underneath the mouth of a Kraken, holding on to a tentacly thing. Take me to war!
And your rat's just kicking around inside the bag, freaking out.
Yep. Scream!
Okay. So the water crackles with lightning again. You're above the water, so you don't have to worry about it.
Then I'm attached to a Kraken.
Right. So it doesn't take any. So everybody, pretty much everybody that's still floating around in the water that hasn't made it away from the ink cloud is dead. Then the survivors on the rock are still making a last-ditch effort. Half of them have abandoned ship and are jumped on the other side of it and are trying to swim away. The other half are still just trying to like fight for their lives. Managed to hit the Kraken for 23 damage. All right, it's the Kraken's turn.
Does he even notice me attached to him?
How much do you weigh?
It says wait, and I said no.
Okay. How tall are you? You know, I'm just gonna
Yay,
go.
hi.
I'm just gonna go with no, because I mean those sharks in the picture are definitely bigger than you. So, and they're very small. So I'm gonna just say it has no idea that you're there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it focuses attacks on rock. It actually is probably assuming that you splashed into the water under it when you jumped on it because it saw you coming. It tried to catch you, and you managed to avoid it. So
Okay.
3 technical attacks is 8, 11, 23, 35 plus 30, 65 times 2 is 130. All right. So as you look behind you at the ship, the Kraken's tentacles just crash through and just demolish the ship, just split it straight in half. The next few minutes consists of you being dunked in and out of water as a Kraken collects the bodies of the crew and just feeds them to himself, basically. So he's like continually like breaching the water, just coming up, snapping. You're catching quick breaths of air as you can.
I should probably roll a reflex save.
I'm gonna have you roll a strength
There.
saving throw. I'm gonna have you roll a strength
That's
saving
strength
throw.
check.
Yeah.
18.
All right, you managed to hold on. And because of the constant breaching, I'm not gonna make you roll a
Yeah.
Constitution check right now. So yeah, you're okay for the time being. But roll an insight check for me.
12 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 12 plus 5. 17.
Okay. So you, as the Kraken's feeding,
My dice have been really nice to me today.
yeah, they have. So as the Kraken's feeding, you notice, or you come to the realization that this thing came out from the water and probably lives in the water, and at some point when it's done eating, it's going to go back into the water. So you may not want to still be on it when it decides to go home, considering you can't breathe in the water, as you found out. As you found out from going in and out of the
Scream at it
water.
one more time.
You know what?
But before it goes underwater,
Yeah.
can I scream using thaumaturgy in common? Because I'm a goblin, and I just realized it probably doesn't speak goblin. I'm screaming in common with thaumaturgy. Take me to war.
Okay.
So I've imagined that would be like a diplomacy thing, or is there a diplomacy? Persuasion.
Yeah, there is persuasion. Unfortunately, Krakens don't speak common.
No.
But you did alert it to your presence. So you did alert it to your presence and yelling like that.
Did
So
what?
by yelling like that, it knows that you're there. So now it surfaces, grabs you with one of its like rear tentacles, pulls you off, holds you up in front of its eye, and it just stares at you. And you hear something in your head. You're not really sure what it is. You can't understand it. It sounds like something speaking to you, but you don't quite understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But the language that it's speaking, it sounds very, very old. You can kind of hear some hints of other languages in it, but it's so ancient that it's you can't understand it. But it gives you a knowing look, um, and just kind of takes you, like glances you over, and you being a young guy, like as young as you are, it sees you. You're smaller than most things that it bothers to eat. It takes you and just launches you through the air. Um, whips it with, yeah, you just go flying into the air. You land about 50 feet away from it, um, taking what, two two falling damage, hitting the surface of the water. Um, yeah, and that puts you at 0 hit points. Huh, Dale? Are
Oh
you?
shoot.
So are you still alive? Like,
Okay.
so how
Thing I
many?
heard was it, and then I got launched through the air.
Okay, yeah. So you get launched through the air. You about, I don't know, about 50 feet away from it, um, and then you hit the surface of the water, taking 2 damage. Are you still conscious? Did you lose me again? Hey, Dale. And then there was one. Um, so I don't think he's dead. All right, viewers, we're going to take a quick break until I can figure out what happened to Ganoob.